Hi everyone, I'm Nathan with the ebookreader.com. For this video, I'm going to give you guys a review of the Kobo Aura H2O, the second generation model. So it's Kobo's latest waterproof e-reader, and what makes it unique is the 6.8-inch e-ink screen. As you can see here, it's got sort of a textured back, and it's got that power button in the corner, but it's got a pretty average design. I mean, it doesn't have any page buttons, it doesn't have any micro SD card slot, just a USB port. So yeah, so like I was saying, it's got the 6.8-inch ink screen. It's got 265 pixels per inch. So the larger size, it is just a little bit larger than your typical 6-inch e-reader, but it's still comfortable to hold. So here's sort of a comparison between the Aura H2O with the Kindle Paperwhite 3, just to get an idea of the size difference. Here we go. So as you can see, 6.8-inch screen, just a little bit larger, not without being a lot bit larger. The actual text is about the same amount because Kobo has those headers and footers. So the overall size for compared to a 6-inch e-reader is not a whole lot different than the Kindle. I mean, it's got just a little bit taller. To get it lined up here, it's just a little bit taller, not very much at all, and about ½ inch wider. So the size difference isn't huge. They actually almost weigh about the same. So Kobo managed to get this one down a little bit lighter. So Kobo, they introduced this new home screen with the release of the Kobo Aura H2O, the second gen model. So we've got some different status bar as well. So you tap on these icons, it'll give you your battery percentage. You can adjust your front light and adjust Wi-Fi, and there's a search icon and sync icon as well. So let's talk about the front light. The main thing that separates the second gen H2O from the first gen is this ability to turn the front light color to an orangish color for night reading. I already did a separate video just to went a little more in depth, but I'll show it again here. So you got these different, you can adjust it just sort of like halfway with the orange and all the way to the left, kind of like the blue light color. And you can also adjust the brightness of the screen. That kind of affects the color as well. So like right here, it's not quite as orange as it was. You get just sort of like a soft orange, depending on how you have it set up. And then you can also like have it set to do this automatically based on the time of day. You just set what your bedtime is, and it'll start to turn it on. If you have the auto setting on, it'll gradually turn it on as the day goes on. So yeah, the front light on here is pretty nice with that adjustable color. I mean, the front light itself is also quite even, doesn't have any weird colors or anything like that, like they sometimes do. So yeah, the front light does look quite good on here. Screen does look good. Like I said, in the comparison with the Aura 1, the screen isn't quite as clear as the Aura 1s for whatever reason, but it still looks really good. The text has more of a bolder quality to it on the H2O, and it does look quite good. So you got one of the big things with Kobo's is the ability to change the font sizes a lot. You got tons of font sizes. There's like 50 of them. And then there's like 10 included fonts as well. So you got a list of font choices. And you can also add your own fonts just to a folder on the Kobo Drive. If you wanted to use some other fonts, you can add them in. The only problem is you don't get this advanced option with your side-loaded fonts. But with the Kobo fonts, you have this advanced option where you can set the weight, make it look a lot darker. So if you like bolder fonts, you can get it nice and dark. So that's one of the best things about Kobo is they have really good fonts. Definitely better fonts than the Kindle, and you have that option with the bolding, makes them really nice. And you've got more margin settings, line spacing settings, and they have this justification option down here. So if you wanted to get rid of the weird spacing between the words, you can have a ragged right margin. There's some additional reading settings in the reading settings menu as well, so you can set different tap zones. You can also set the page refresh frequency from 1 to 6 pages. And then that's about it. You can turn reading stats on and off. So there's like a reading stats and awards that I'll talk about here in a little bit. So like if you hit this icon, this is just sort of a related reading icon for Kobo books. And so here's the estimated reading timer. So it gives you estimated time for chapters and for amount of time in the book. We've got the search option. So if you want to run searches within a book, pop up this extra window here, and then it will give you a list of the search results. You can jump around between these. So if we like select one, we can actually navigate around to other instances of the word with this little arrows at the bottom here. So then you can go back to your previous location as well. Close this out, go back to the list. So if you hold down the word, you get the usual dictionary pop-up. So you've got a few different searching or sharing options. You can share on Facebook. You got a couple of different searching options. You can search in the book and Wikipedia on Google. So Wikipedia and Google open up the web browser. And then, of course, you can add the usual notes and highlights. If you hold down and drag, you got the notes. So they seem to have improved highlights. They seem to have improved the highlight adding ability a lot here with recent updates, because I used to complain about this a lot, about how inaccurate it was. But now look at this, no problem at all. I can go whatever word I want. Stops exactly where I want it to stop. So yeah, the highlighting's improved a lot on here. If you see my Aura 1 review, I was complaining about that, but it actually works really well on the Aura 1 lately too. So they seem to have fixed whatever highlighting issue there was. It seems to work a lot better than it used to. So this little icon right here, it lets you jump around the book. You can jump around the chapters with that double arrow, and then you can use the table of contents to jump around the main sections of your book for navigation. Of course, you got the tap for page turns. There's no page buttons, of course. All right, so we've got this new menu set up with this software they introduced with the H2O. You got all your items up here accessible, which is kind of nice. So you may not like the new home screen. Some people don't, but it's got some advantages in that you can bypass it if you want. And then you can also do some other things. If you hold down on the items, you get your different info right here. You can view the details about the book. You can view your annotations. You can delete it. So if you so it just shows the 4 recently accessed books. But you can switch over to your library view if you want to just view the books. So that's kind of one cool thing about the new software. If you you can just like bypass home screen entirely if you just want to go to My Books instead. So you got a couple of different views over here in your book view. You can view it by covers, or you can view the list view. And then there are some different sorting options. You got recent, date, author, the typical stuff, and file size and file type, which is kind of handy. And we've got some other options as well to narrow things down. What's cool about this new software is they have these different tabs. I don't have a whole lot of books on here, so there's not a lot of multiple authors, but you can search by authors, and then you can do collections. So you can have your little tab over here for collections, and you can actually access this directly from the menu as well. It's right there on the list. You can just jump to it. It's really nice and handy. So it makes it easier to access your collections. They also got the pocket articles, so you can send web articles to your reader from on here. And then, of course, got the built-in Kobo ebook store to shop for and download ebooks directly on the device via Wi-Fi, of course. All right, so let's talk about some of these other features. Let's go in. So we've got this activity, which shows your reading activity. Let's go into the settings. In the beta features options here, there's a web browser. There's like a basic web browser you can use for searching online, and you downloaded DRM-free ebooks. What else do we got in here? We got the language and dictionary option. So there's several languages supported on Kobo's e-reader here. Yeah, we've got plenty of options. And then there's also a number of dictionaries you can install. It just comes with these 6 by default, but there's a whole couple of pages here of the different languages you can install. There's also some translation dictionaries to cover all the different languages. You can also create your own dictionaries too. There's some guides on mobile read how to do that. All right, so what else do we got in here? We got, oh, we're back to the store again. It's kind of weird with the new settings layout. There's no back button. Sometimes it takes you where you're not expecting. So if you hit that button, you got the sync option. Then we can run searches if you hit that mirror glass icon. So you can run searches in Kobo, your items, your book, and annotations. So you have some different options for running searches. So it's kind of weird that it keeps taking us back to the store when you go back out of that menu selection. Got to go manually back to books. So Kobos, they support a variety of formats. PDFs are not very good. They support comics as well. So this is just a look at a manga from the Kobo store. So it does work quite well, though, as far as the ones from Kobo. But I find that if you sideload ones, they're really, really slow sometimes. It's kind of hit or miss. So with comics and PDFs, you have the options to switch to landscape mode, but that's not available for ebooks. So you can't use that landscape mode to read ebooks at all. It only works with, like I said, PDFs and comics. So you can switch it over to that, and it works okay, but the problem is it doesn't scroll down the page, so you got to manually scroll down the page. So like with the Kindles, when you turn pages, it manually scrolls down the page, but with the Kobos, you got to manually scroll. It's not too smooth. Same with pinch zooming. That's kind of where it loses a little bit, because it gets kind of rough with this pinch zooming, and it's kind of annoying that when you use this arrow, it goes upside down. You got to keep doing it a couple more times to get back around. So Kobo software, it's quite good with ebooks. Like I'm saying, you got all those font options, you got the layout options, it's quite good, but it can get quite frustrating with other forms of content, like with PDFs. Like I said, they're just excruciatingly slow. There's not very many features at all, and it can get really slow with comics at times. Like if you sideload CBZ or CBR comics, those are actually supported, but it kind of depends on the individual files. Some of them get really bogged down, get really slow with Kobo e-readers. It's just one of those things. Kobo e-readers are also a bit notorious for having random bugs here and there. So this is a book that it seems to not like for some reason, because no matter what, it always reverts back to the starting page. So if we jump any page in here, chapter 10, then we go back to the home screen, it'll still say 1% read, and when we open it, it'll still be, it'll jump back to that very first page instead of where we just were. So sometimes with Kobo e-readers, you get these weird random bugs. I don't know, it seems to happen more often than with other e-readers. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video right here. Check out the ebookreader.com for the full written review, and I also have comparisons between the Kindle and the Kobo Aura 1 and a bunch of other stuff. Thank you guys for watching, and you have a good day.